Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share with you guys a first look at the Asus ePad Transformer tablet. Now this is a 10.1 inch Android-based tablet. It's running Honeycomb version 3.0.1. Of course it will get an upgrade to 3.1 when that does roll out. It was just announced today that the Motorola Xoom would be receiving that imminently, of course, because the Xoom is the flagship Honeycomb tablet. What's most intriguing about this device, and pretty much the reason as to why it's sold out nationwide right now, is that it's not only the least expensive Honeycomb tablet to date in that it's priced at $399.99, but more importantly, its spec sheet is pretty much a mirror image of what's found in the more expensive Motorola Xoom. So let me tell you what you guys get out of the box. So as you can see, you've got this 1280 by 800 resolution IPS panel, which I have to say the display is, you know, really nice, a little bit brighter than what you'll find on the Xoom, which does not employ IPS, technology. Also, slightly better viewing angles, although I would call those negligible right now from what I've seen in the short amount of time that I've spent with it. But again, the display is one of the bragging rights of this tablet out of the box. It does have a Tegra 2 processor, the same one found in the Xoom, so that's definitely a good thing, especially at its price point. A gig of DDR2 Ram, which is pretty much industry standard at this point. You've got Wi-Fi, BG, and N support. Since this is a Wi-Fi only device, Asus does plan to release data-enabled tablets later on, but for now, Wi-Fi is the only option. You've got 16 gigs of internal storage, which you can expand through a microSD card slot, which is functional out of the box. Definitely a good thing. Of course, up to 32 gigs of expansion right now, so that's definitely good. Also, you've got Bluetooth 2.1. Not sure why they didn't go with 3.0, but not a big deal. You also have GPS, which is definitely a good thing at this price point, something not found on many other tablets in the same ballpark. Again, keeping it up to snuff, at least in terms of specs, with the Xoom. It's a little bit larger than the Xoom, I want to point that out. A little bit more bezel, especially since it's got that espresso or copper rim around the bezel, which is already wider than what is found on the Xoom. But that's really a matter of personal preference as to whether or not you'll like that in terms of holding the device. Also want to point out, Asus claims that the device gets 9.5 hours of battery life. After I spend some time with it, of course, I will be able to verify exactly how many hours of use at least I'm seeing out of the device, and if that 9.5 hours is actually accurate. Also important to point out, it does have HDMI out, a mini HDMI port, so that's definitely a good thing. And then the Transformer name obviously comes because this device is able to dock with a Transformer keyboard, which also offers USB ports. There are no USB ports on this device out of the box. So that pretty much gives you guys a rundown of most of the hardware, except for I did leave out the 1.2 megapixel front-facing webcam, as well as a 5 megapixel rear camera. No flash on that, but whether or not that's important to you is clearly a matter of personal preference. So let me go ahead and just show you guys the actual hardware. Overall build quality is pretty good. A little creaky sometimes. You can attribute that to the all-plastic back, which I'll show you guys in a second. But again, the display is really nice. Definitely one of the bragging rights of this device. Again, stock Honeycomb, although some of the icons are a little bit different looking. I'm not sure why. But on the whole, the software experience is what you're going to expect from a Honeycomb tablet, and the hardware is there to back it up. On the top of the device, there is nothing, just that espresso bezel that I've been talking about. On the left-hand side of the device, you can see we've got our volume rocker and power button, as well as one of the two stereo speakers. Trying to make it so that you guys are able to see that. If I flip the device over to the right side, you can see we've got our 3.5mm headphone jack, our microphone, mini HDMI port, and micro SD card slot, as well as another speaker. And the back of the device does have a textured plastic finish. Definitely grippy, that's a good thing. There's your 5 megapixel rear cam. Again, no flash on that. I do like that it's grippy, but I'm not in love with the fact that it's all plastic. But again, that's a very small complaint for a device that's priced really reasonably. There's your 40-pin proprietary connector for charging. You can charge this, I believe, via USB as well, but of course, as usual, I recommend using an AC adapter, as that will, reduce your charging time drastically, since the voltage coming from an AC outlet is much higher than what you'll pull from USB. But definitely a good thing to have that option. As you can see right here on the left and right side are the docking ports for when you basically transform it into a laptop by docking it on the keyboard, which also has USB ports, as I mentioned before. So that pretty much gives you guys a rundown of what the hardware looks like and feels like, some initial impressions. I'm liking what I see. Definitely setting a new standard, especially at its price point, in terms of a real value offering. Again, this is a Wi-Fi only device, only 16 gigs of internal storage when compared to the Xoom, which does have 32 gigs. But the Xoom is $200 more in price for its Wi-Fi only model. So part of the reason that this device is really compelling right now and pretty much sold out nationwide. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.